Chapter 423. Stephen was stunned when he heard Alex's command. He picked up his dagger immediately before instructing his subordinates. "Come over here and hold on to his head for me." Ethan was extremely frightened at this time and struggled, shaking his head desperately as he was unwilling to let someone engrave the words "pathetic jerk" on his forehead. These were the two words that he would use to scold and speak ill of others every day. Over the past few years, Ethan's family had come into some money, and ever since he had become a little wealthier, he had been acting even more like a tyrant. Whenever he went out and saw the garbage collectors, he would call them pathetic jerks. When he went out on the street and saw that other people's cars were not as good as his own, he would also call them pathetic jerks. Some time ago, a high school student had accidentally poured a cup of milk tea over his jacket. After that, out of anger, Ethan had beat the high school student until the student had had a concussion and fell unconscious. When the high school student's parents arrived, he had also scolded them, "Your whole family is so poor and pathetic. Even if I sold all of you as slaves, I would not be able to get enough money to get a new replacement for my jacket." After he was done speaking and insulting the entire family, he had left without paying them any medical expenses at all. Just last night, when he wanted to go out for dinner, he saw that there was a traffic jam on the road. Thus, he drove his Mustang up on the sidewalk, forcing all the pedestrians to move aside, and all the cyclists had to carry their bikes to the side of the road to make way for him. However, one of the old men moved a little slower, and this frustrated Ethan. He had immediately gotten out of his car and kicked the old man into the pile of bushes by the side of the road before spitting on his face and cursing at him. "Damn it! Who gave you the courage to stand in my way? This time, I'm only kicking you, but if I see you again, I will kill you, you fucking old man." After that, Ethan drove away immediately. And now, he was the one who had tried to take someone else's parking space, and he was also the one who had ended up hitting Mia's car. Yet, instead of admitting his own mistakes, he reprimanded Mia and criticized Alex, calling him a pathetic jerk when he tried to speak up for Mia. The degree of Ethan's arrogance was evident. If he had the words "pathetic jerk" engraved on his forehead, this would actually be the perfect punishment for him, since it would really match his character and personality. When Stephen saw that the young kid was struggling back and forth as he refused to let him engrave those words on his forehead, he immediately grit his teeth before saying, "If you cooperate with me without struggling any further, I will simply engrave the two words on your forehead. However, if you want to continue struggling and fighting me, then, I am sorry, but I will not only engrave the words "pathetic jerk" on your forehead, but I will also engrave those words on both your left and right cheek." After that, Stephen had an unusual expression on his face as he said, "By the way, aren't you acting all haughty and arrogant because your dad made some money over the past 2 years? Should I arrest your father and bring him here to engrave the words "pathetic jerk's father" on his forehead too? After that, I will tell him that this is all thanks to you." Ethan was truly frightened out of his wits by now. Even though the Joey family had some money, it was simply impossible for them to go against Don Stephen. He was the infamous mobster boss in Oris Hill and could easily chop his whole family up with a single butcher knife. Besides that, Stephen also had the Adair family backing him up, because everyone in Oris Hill knew that Don Stephen worked for the Adair family. Even if Stephen was just a person who was carrying out orders on behalf of the Adair family, he was not someone that he could afford to offend at all. If he really had the words "pathetic jerk" engraved on his forehead, how was he going to face people in the future? Moreover, if he resisted and Stephen brought his father over here to engrave the words "pathetic jerk's father" on his face, how would his father possibly have the face to meet anyone else in the future? When that time came, his father would be so furious that he would probably skin him alive. Therefore, he could only cry out loud as he begged pitifully, "Uncle Stephen, please be merciful. Can you just engrave the words a little smaller?" "Shut up," Stephen yelled as he gave Ethan a tight slap. "How dare you try and bargain with me at a time like this?" Ethan was crying desperately as he was absolutely terrified and felt that he was being seriously wronged. However, he did not dare to say anything anymore. Stephen then instructed his men to hold on to Ethan's head as he prepared to engrave the words on his forehead. Alex quickly took out his cell phone before turning on the video recording function. Even though Ethan had begged Stephen to engrave the words a little smaller, would Stephen dare to neglect Alex's instructions?